Saturday morning, Sydney time, 8:15 a.m. A bit of an awkward time for me. I usually go live Saturdays around 6 a.m. But one of my clients, he owns horses, so his horse is racing in a big race here in Sydney. So I'm going to the racetrack directly after this. Got to get dressed. Just got the haircut. You know, we always have to look presentable. So I didn't spar today. Thus, I didn't have to get up super duper early, but I've been busy. If you aren't a member of the Discord, join the Discord. Become a member of Johnny Says Boxing VIP Insider membership. That link is pinned in the comment section below. It's a couple bucks a month. Gain access to our private betting VIP Discord. It's an awesome community. There's an American football channel. There's a soccer channel, MMA, boxing, and my picks all categorized individually. So to get that link, click the link pinned here. What's up, DJ Green? As you guys are checking in. Now, there are some fights we want to talk about. It's one of those weekends where I'm looking to make a lot of money, but I'm not going to be betting on every single fight. On the Discord, on the YouTube channel, and on my Instagram, I gave you my long parlay. But in the Discord, I gave you guys my prop of the week, so I didn't give that to everybody. And also after this live stream, I'll be giving you my locks. We could go over it as well. There were some fights last night. There were a lot of kind of obscure fights so far this week. We had Japan, super domestic. We had Africa, super domestic. So if you guys took bets and took action in Japan and Africa and you hit, cheers. You guys are beasts. You know what I mean? I once again second-guessed my initial action. And now I told you guys at the beginning of the week, the money bet was Brandon Glanton. And you know, I got talked out of it. Thanks, Julius. But it's cool because some of you boys have followed me long enough to know that even if I talk myself out of initial bet, you guys will follow my initial pick. Shout out to PJ. And PJ actually won because he took Glanton. And he messaged me. He was like, I took Glanton because that was your initial pick. The same reason why I took Crawford because that was your initial pick. And the same reason he took Fundora because that was my initial pick. In all three fights, I flip-flopped like an idiot. But anyway, here we go. As you guys are checking in, tapping in, we got the boys in. Let's hit a thumbs up. You guys are, dust the shoes off, shake the shoulders off. Give me a little bit of roll, but hit the thumbs up. Kyle Hayden tapping in. What's up, buddy? And Collins is a lock. Who else we got? We got Jeffers or no? I got Nathaniel Collins, but I don't have Jeffers. I'm taking Willie Hutchinson. Mateo in the house, I appreciate you. Ricardo Valles, Danny Garcia. Is Danny Garcia fighting again? We just saw Garcia. He didn't look good, guys. I like Danny. Every now and then I'll do, because, I'm a coach first, and then I'm a writer, so I'm an author. So it's something you guys don't know about me. I write every day. It's kind of, cathartic for me to write. And so every now and then I'll write a blog to put on my Facebook group about Danny Garcia, just reminding people about Keith Thurman, just about guys who are in their later 30s now but have done great things in the sport. And Danny Garcia's had a hell of a career. Mikey Garcia, people forget about. But we just saw Danny fight. I don't think we want to see him again. Julius, do you remember that zoo? Oh, yeah, brother. I remember that zoo pick. Jesus. That zoo pick will haunt me. David Eister, I'm kind of bummed out on boxing. The Fundora Thurman card is okay. Guys, what do you guys make of... There's some mainstream, like on Instagram. So a lot of you boys will do the Twitter thing. Because I'm more acclimated with Instagram, and I've been on Instagram since 2012 with my fitness page, and the fitness page is kind of started fitness, then it became my first podcast, then it became my second podcast, then it became my documentary, and now it's my boxing page. But it's all my main page. I've had it forever. And the reason why I reference this is, what do you guys make of mainstream boxing sites, like big boxing sites, like The Ring? I'll use that for an example. And their content lately. Like, it's hard for me not to be a hater. I guess that's my point. I find myself when The Ring posts something and they're promoting Jake Paul versus Tank Davis, or they're promoting some obscure non-boxing fight, I do, and I know Shady McCoy. And I don't know if it's my beef, like I don't have personal beef with Shady McCoy, but when Shady was playing for the Eagles, I was bartending in Las Vegas, and he would always come into the casino I worked at. I worked at Planet Hollywood. So Shady, if you listen to this, I remember the stories, mate. I'm not gonna put you super on blast. But at the time when Shady was like killing the game and he was one of the best backs in the league, he would come into, and I worked at this sort of speakeasy bar to where celebrities would come in, like guys like Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, Lady Gaga, Britney Spears, these sort of people. This would have been 2011, 2012. And Shady would come in there off his ass, hammered, and he would just act real shady. I'm gonna leave it at that towards the girls that work with me. So because of that, I'm just kind of like, this dude's I never really kind of like was that guy. I told you guys longer on my channel, you'll know I was raised by my dad, my mom, and three sisters. So I was raised to treat women in a specific way. My point is, now I go to the Ring Magazine Instagram. Shady is on they do this show with Shady and Kellerman, and it's like, what the fuck, dude? This isn't boxing. This isn't good for boxing. They're just clickbaiting sound bites, and they're featuring Jake Paul and Tank Davis, and so to put a point on David Eister's comment, he's bummed out with boxing. That's my take. And every day I find myself commenting on something to give them my opinion, and I have to delete it because I was like, hell no, I'm not playing this. I look like a troll if I comment here. Anyway, so we got money to make. Let's stick to business here. To answer your question, I think it was N who asked. I'm taking Nathaniel Collins. I'm also taking Hutch on the money line. I'm sprinkling a little bit on Nathaniel Collins to win by stoppage. And then there are fights I'm avoiding. I did tape on Louis O'Doherty and Regan Glacken. I mean, you're not going to really see too much you're going to want to bet on there. The long parlay, I do have Cecilia Brækhus on here. I know some of you boys want to bet on Javier Santana versus Steve Collins Jr. I mean, bet at your own risk. Javier Santana, I think, is 3-2. Steve Collins Jr. is not his father. That's all I'm going to say. His father was one of the best to ever do it. That's not him. Let's see. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 fights today. So there's 4 fights on Sportsbet right now. I don't see any of these favorites losing. For all you big bettors, let's see if we put them all on one. If you want some locks real quick, $1.57. I know a guy putting 5,000 on this. So if you put 5,000 bucks on this bet, you get your money back plus 2,700. So this is a 57% return of investment. I hate saying that because I don't to say that gambling on boxing is a return of investment. My buddies who are day traders, I tell them they're gamblers, and then they try to clown me because they try to say, boxing sharps say that it's a return of investment. I'm like, bro, what you doing, what I do is the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing. It's just that, the argument should be which one's more corrupt, trading stocks or boxing. But if you take Cain Sandoval, Barrera, Zambakov, and Iwata, it's a 4-leg. I'm going to call those my locks this weekend. The first fight, though, happens in 2 hours. $1.57, it's not going to, if you're betting 10 bucks, it's only going to win you, $5.70. But this is for like the guys, I've been going back and forth with one of my buddies who's, like I told you, he's putting $5,000 on this. I don't see any risk here. I mean, I think Mario Hernandez versus Barrera will be a close fight, but I think he should win. And then Iwata versus Hernandez, I like Iwata. He should win there. So that's going down today. And then going into tomorrow, these are my times, by the way. Australia. So there's, like I said, Cain Sandoval fights in 2 hours. So there's action that starts in 2 hours. This is boxing. I got Sandoval, Barrera, Zambakov, and like I said, Iwata. That's 4. The long parlay, I also have, these are just money line. Brækhus, Hutchinson, and Collins. So that's just money line. Method of victory, I mean, Hutchinson by decision looks really tempting. Hutchinson by decision looks tempting. If you like Hutchinson by decision, it's $1.86. I might add this to the Discord, boys. Hutchinson by decision, $1.86. And then you put that up with Nathaniel Collins. This is just a two-leg prop. I like Collins to win by stoppage, 315. That's 585. So $100 on this two-leg method of victory gets you your money back plus $485. Not quite 5-1. $100 gets you 500. So this is an exciting one. And the reason why, even if it doesn't hit, why I wouldn't be so upset about it, is that this is all we're getting this weekend, boys, in terms of what is the highest level of boxing we're going to be able to see. You know what I mean? So, like, what is Jeffers versus Hutchinson a world-class matchup? I mean, say what you will about it. It's all we're getting today. It's not like we have other options. And then Collins versus Lorente. I think Collins has the potential to be world-class. So I'm comfortable. My point is, when you're thinking about betting on, if you're wagering high on bets, I always feel more comfortable wagering high on the more talented of fighters, if that makes sense, which it should make sense. Okay, let's get to some of these. Kyle Hayden. Oh, the boys are tapping in. Boys, I didn't see all these, so I'm going to get to them right now. Boss Marv asks about Iwata fight over. I'm just taking the money line, mate. I'm not playing with over and unders. And it kind of aligns with my point I just made about the level of competition in terms of the trickier you want to get. I always feel more comfortable getting trickier with higher level fights. Jesus Ramos, Mosley Jr. Oh, mate, I like that fight. This is Ramos's introduction at 160, right? I like Jesus Ramos. I'm a fan of Jesus Ramos, guys. He's still so young, too. I think this is going to be a big year for Jesus Ramos in his career. I feel he has to, really get things clicking. I think he feels he's going to do his best work in a newer division. Am I wrong, or isn't this fight at 60 with Mosley Jr.? Shock versus Fulton is the most intriguing lower weight class fight the last half of 2025. Don't sleep on isn't Bam fighting Puma, or who am I thinking of? There's a couple fights though in the lower weight classes, but you're right. I like that fight a lot. I'm a big fan of. I like watching. You know what? And Fulton. He proved his mind. He proved to me that he wasn't done. Especially how he pretty much handily put belt to ass against Figueroa. Isn't there a fight in November? I thought Bam was fighting in November on that card. I created an account for the Ring magazine recently so I could comment a correction to their article. Kyle, we're seeing the same thing, brother. The Ring magazine, they're hard to watch, man. Why did I think Bam had a fight coming up? Doesn't he? Or Abdullah Mason versus Noakes, but I guess 1/3. Yeah, Bam is fighting. Bam's fighting November 23rd. That's the one I want to watch. I think Bam versus Martinez is the best lower weight class fight. I'm more excited about that than Shock versus Foster, to be honest with you, just because of the Bam Rodriguez's electric style. Sorry. It's allergy season here, boys, so I apologize for clearing my throat. I got bad allergies. I'm like a little kid in a bubble. David Boots and Lima, a week away. Yep, that Boots card. I think Collins might get the stoppage. So do I. I think Lima is kind of slept on. I think Lima slept on. I do too. I'm not saying Lima's going to beat Boots, but I think he slept on. My play, Collins versus Lorente under 10.5. I like that, Julius. Lloyd Hernandez says, do you think... Lloyd Hernandez says, do you think Glacken pulls a stoppage? I'm not betting on the Glacken fight. I watched the tape, guys, on Glacken and his opponent. There's not a lot there. If you guys haven't noticed, I made some adjustments 4 weeks ago. I told you guys I was making these adjustments regarding how heavy I'm betting going into the weekend, meaning that I'm not betting on every single fight at the moment. You know what I mean? I'm picking and choosing. I'm leaving off a lot of these sort of like mid-tier domestic level fights. Eister. I know a lot of Boots fans claim that Brian Norman ducked him. Ricardo Velez, easy money. Lamont Roach versus Pitbull. Who you going, Ricardo? Do you like Roach versus Pitbull? I think Roach should beat Pitbull everywhere. To be honest with you, Mosley Jr. is a tough guy, but I think Ramos should win. 160 is so weak. Is that good that Ramos is it? The thing is, Ramos. It's been well documented. The weight at 154 was a struggle for him. Julius says Lamont Roach is going to box circles around Pitbull. I agree. Adames and Janibek is off. Yeah, I hear people sharing Adames or Janibek versus Lara. That's what I hear. I don't know. I would have rather seen Adames versus Janibek. Will Hutchinson gets a stoppage. Adu. I think I like Hutchinson at 185 by decision. But like I said, I think I'm gonna play that Adu. Actually, I think I'm gonna play that. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna put that in the Discord. David Eister. So does this mean Adames could fight Crawford or maybe Ramos in the future? I mean, I don't know what broke down. This is why I don't get too stoked, guys, on fights that aren't made official. I didn't cover Elam Hanalei versus Adames because it was just sort of speculation, and that's why I'm not really getting too stoked about Lara versus Elam Hanalei because it's still just speculation. Rudy Pedroza in the house. What's up, buddy? Where you been at? We've been here. Long time no see. Fresh BX. What made you keep the mic after yesterday? I got people. They like the mic. Money Meach. What's up, baby? Yeah. I mean, AKA Fresh. I bought it and I re-listened to the live stream and the audio sounded fine. The audio with the mic definitely sounds way better than the audio without the mic. Fresh, which is insane. The audio without the mic 2 days ago wasn't. So two days ago I bought the new iPad, right, guys? And I didn't use a mic, and the audio is ridiculous. It sounds like I'm in the back room. Then I bought this. It's a JBL wireless, and it sounds way better. But we're just trying to figure out, because I was going like from here to here, and I think it's more comfortable. It's way more comfortable doing this. David Eister, I don't know. Roach likes to stand and trade. I believe that's actually a winnable fight for Pitbull. Yeah, I'm not putting anything in stone yet. I'm going to have to still do the tape. Pitbull really hasn't impressed me over his most recent fights. I got to be honest with you. Yo, Johnny, what's up, High Interest? Hopefully you're doing well, man. Usman Nurmagomedov got the win, bro. I told you, PFL, easy money. Yeah, Manny, did you take Sergio, though? I know a lot of you boys didn't take Sergio. I saw in the Discord a lot of you boys took Magomedov, and he was winning every moment of every round until he wasn't. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go to the PFL, go to their Instagram. There were fights today. And Sergio Pettis, the little brother of Anthony Pettis, former UFC champion, WEC champion. A little fun fact, Anthony Pettis was the first MMA athlete ever to be on the cover of the Wheaties cereal box. So, Pettis is getting beat up. And then Magomedov was, kind of a moment in distraction, a lapse of focus, and he came rushing in, and he kind of missed, I think, with like a jumping knee, and Pettis hit him with a spinning elbow, and it was beautiful. In just typical Pettis brother fashion, highlight reel knockout. These boys are made for highlight reels. I mean, obviously, when people think about, the most viral highlight reel knockout of all time, he didn't really knock him out, but it's when Anthony fought Benson Henderson in, I think it was the WEC, when he jumped off the cage. He did the running off of the octagon cage and kicked him. He dropped Benson, but Benson didn't get stopped. A lot of people, it was just a cool-ass moment in MMA. Benson gets dropped, but he didn't get stopped in that moment. It wasn't like an Edson Barboza, Terry Edom spinning roundhouse, knocked out unconscious strike. Sergio with crazy spin elbow, come from behind. He did that to Japanese fighters. That bet when Bellator. Yeah, dude, the Pettis brothers are always known for that. You can't ever count them out. When Anthony was cooking in his prime, man, he was really fun to watch. One of my favorite fighters. Milwaukee in the house. And those guys always stayed home too. They sort of made it known. I think they were Duke Rufus guys. I think that they cut their teeth and stayed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with Duke Rufus at Rufus Sport and they were loyal to him their entire career. I'm pretty sure Sergio still trains with Duke. I think he finally surprised people. Matias and Cruz is a fight I would still like to see. Oh, yeah, speaking of which, they scheduled, Dalton Smith versus, so Dalton Smith, Subriel Matias is in January. I go back and forth with Dalton Smith. Before his last fight with Matthew Germain, I was high on him, and then I watched how he performed against Matthew Germain. I was like, maybe this guy is it. And guys, how excited, and there's no offense to the Brits, no offense to UK fighters, but I'm living in Australia, so technically you got to categorize me as an Aussie when I'm breaking down boxing. We see it all the time when Aussies, especially in recent memory, go international. They don't, the results aren't always the best. You know what I'm saying? I'll just leave it at that. And sometimes with the Brits, when they go international, we see sometimes the results aren't always the best. We'll see, though. We'll see Dalton Smith versus Subriel. Dalton Smith is in the prime of his career. He's still waiting for a breakout moment. Subriel Matias has been in the game for a while. How old is Subriel now? 30? Is Subriel 35? I always get his age wrong. I'm thinking Subriel Matias. I always think Subriel Matias is older. He's 33. He just turned 33. I don't know. I always get his age wrong. So he's 33. We know when you're dealing with Subriel, when we're talking about Matias, we know what we're getting. A marauder, he has that aura about him. He had that wild knockout to win ratio. We obviously know about the the fight against Dadashev. We know about his own, at the time when he lost, and then he avenged his loss against Nyanyin, and then his only other loss is to Liam Perro. And we'll see. It's an interesting matchup. Yeah, BoxRec still hasn't made it official, but I know it might just still be speculation. Will Bohannon says Pitbull plus 200 might be playable. Might be. It's kind of like, guys, what do you make? I think we have a couple instances of this when we. What do you make of fighters who don't win fights and then go on like parades? Go on a media tour when they don't win a fight, whether they lose or whether it's a draw. We recently saw two fighters do this, one having a loss and then one with a draw. And obviously, the first one, Berlanga, he loses to Canelo and has a parade. Literally did the rounds, did all the podcasts, and he lost. And then his next performance against Hamza, he gets stopped. Now, Lamont Roach fought Tank to a draw. I mean, if you guys played sports before, it doesn't have to be boxing. It could have been when you were 8 years old and you were playing t-ball. It could have been when you were, 15 years old and your, freshman football team, there's no overtime in JV or freshman football. I think we had one possession of overtime in varsity. We beat actually through a winning touchdown pass my junior year against a team called Hubbard in overtime. So that kind of negates my point about varsity football in Ohio. But my point is, nobody likes a draw. Nobody on any level. If you're playing anything, draws suck. So the point is, Lamont kind of went on a victory tour for a draw. Maybe Pitbull plus 200 is the play, Will. It's something we have to think about. We know how much psychology plays into this game. And I think Julius brought up a good point. Julius said that, he referenced, I think it was Julius, or maybe it was Fresh. Lamont does like to stand and trade. He likes to pick and pop. He likes to catch and counter, which is exciting for fans and boxing heads. Real boxing heads love that style. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys who like the technique, but also like, volume, that's probably my favorite style, pick and pop in the pocket. So, and that kind of plays into the hands of Pitbull. And then, with Pitbull, there is an underlying narrative because Pitbull fans want that Tank Davis fight back. And so Pitbull fans are going to be like, look, if Pitbull goes in and beats Roach and Tank couldn't beat Roach, hey, Tank, where you at? So there is a good storyline there. And I think we should expect to see the best version of Pitbull. Lamont and Berlanga's situation, not the same. I know. High interest with the super chat. Brother, I appreciate you, mate. With the $10 super chat. Got to pay my membership right here. I can't pull up link to renew. Appreciate you, brother. You a beast. David Eister, Berlanga didn't get stopped by Shiraz. You can't stop a guy who never started. Touche. So you're saying that Berlanga didn't beat him, Berlanga beat himself. Will, I think Roach is good at what he does, but Cruz, unlike Tank, is a volume puncher. He only struggles with guys who decide to box. Yeah, this is why it is intriguing, the matchup in itself. It's kind of like, I don't know, guys. With that last statement, though, it surprised me to see Lamont Roach's game plan against Tank. It was the right game plan. This is how you have to fight Tank, and Lamont showed the blueprint. You can't back up on the ropes. You can't allow Tank to depict where the fight plays. You have to stand your ground against Tank Davis. I just wasn't expecting Roach to do that, and I wasn't expecting Roach to be successful in doing that, and he was. And so, yeah, it bums me out that Tank is fighting, that they're doing an exhibition with Jake Paul. Like, and I don't like, I wish there were major media outlets, boxing major media outlets, who weren't supporting this. Like, this shouldn't be supported. They shouldn't support the narrative they're getting paid. Because the minute you start supporting this narrative, he's getting your bag. They don't care. Fans don't care about the fighter. The minute a fighter loses, they don't even talk about the fighter. Guys, this sport is boxing made by the fans. With no fans, there's no sport. Like, what are we talking about? With no fans, if there's no fans watching, there's no sport. Boxers don't get paid. So the point is, the narrative, it's so flawed to defend Tank Davis fighting Jake Paul just to get paid. What do you you could defend it on, like, DAZN. I don't mind DAZN defending it. I mean, nobody really takes them serious. But, like, The Ring, they're losing credibility day in and day out, at least for me. I used to subscribe to The Ring. I used to get the magazines. You know, we know about it historically. It goes back to, I think, the 1800s. But the minute Oscar sold it to Turki Al-Sheikh, did you guys see what Turkey just did? Did you see the Saudis just bought EA Sports? See, guys, I've been telling you guys about this since jump. Did you see the Saudis? They just bought EA Sports, which is wild. So, Mar the Princess taking Lamont in that fight. The blueprint to beat Pitbull is out there. Box and turn him. See Davis Cruz. Yeah, it's I'm not betting against Lamont Roach. I'm fairly convinced I'm taking Lamont Roach. He impressed me. I don't know why. I mean, we knew about, what's up, Tyler Randolph? We know about Lamont Roach's pedigree. We know about his discipline and his love of the game. He's always in shape. His mindset, his attitude. I don't know why I doubted him. Why did we all doubted? Nope. I mean, raise your hand. All right, chat, hit 1 if you guys picked Lamont Roach to either beat or draw with Tank. Or hit 2 if you had Tank beating Roach. I had Tank, and I'm not a Tank fan. I thought Tank was going to stop Lamont Roach. It was a big misread on my end. I mean, because if you rewind the clock and look at Roach's last few performances at 130, and then, it's wild. And that's why I'm like, high interest too. Yeah, same. So I don't want to sit here and act like I knew that was going to happen. And I've seen Pitbull as of late, guys. The version of Pitbull we've seen as of late, it hasn't been the best version. It's not like Pitbull has been just dominant and has been this guy that people should be worried about. Mar, can see that fight being a stinker. Lamont is not risking that rematch. I mean, but Mar, Pitbull is a big draw, though. I mean, Pitbull has a fan base. He has a whole country behind him. I'd like to see the money. He's probably making good money, right? Mateo, too, is a non-Tank fan. Roach did well. Yep, it's the same. All right, chat, you see my point, right? So it's kind of like we learned a lot about both guys. We learned a lot about Roach. See, this is interesting. I learned more about Roach. How Tank performed, I was kind of just waiting for that to happen in his career. I just didn't think it was going to be Roach to do that to him. So I can't say we learned. I didn't know that about Tank. I was never 100% sold on. Not every boxer. Tank, great skills, great speed, great power, great explosivity, natural talent, instinct, great power too. He does so many things really well. But I mean, it's just the psychology or the lack thereof historically in his career is why, as a fan, I was never really able to back him. I thought he stood no chance. Same. I think Roach has enough marketability off the Tank fight to not get robbed. I do too. Guys, is that fight in Vegas? Tyler Randolph says, I thought Tank was going to knock him out. So did I. But I was weary because he hasn't fought a lot of defensive, responsible fighters now. We know what styles give him problems. Great point, Tyler Randolph. High interest. I learned Shakur beat Tank fairly easy. Yeah, I was always going to side in. I've always been more of a Shakur fan than a Tank fan. And if they were ever going to fight, which who knows now, I was always going to side with Shakur based off of the boxing arsenal he has. Is that fight in Vegas? That fight should be in Vegas, right? Roach versus Pitbull. Man, we got Andy Hiroka versus Gary Antoine Russell coming up. I love that fight. It's in San Antonio. Oh, okay. So it's it's not quite out west. Roach's people, isn't he from the Baltimore, D.C. area? So I'm sure Roach's people will travel for sure. So what's up, Sal's Blog Talk? They're talking guys, I would love to see a fight in Texas, by the way. I know I live in Sydney, but I love Texas, by the way, guys. I've always been a big fan of Texas. I never lived there. But in 2015, my first podcast was called the Vision Board Podcast, and we were sponsored by Joe Rogan's supplement company called Onnit, Onnit, and we did a podcast tour. This is 2015. We did, and Onnit sponsored it, and we did LA, we did ABC Radio in New York City, we did Miami, and then we finished up in Austin, Texas at the Onnit facility with Aubrey Marcus, who was the CEO at the time. This is before Onnit, they sold it. But I spent about 4 days in Austin. Dude, Austin's a blast. I know Austin's not really the greatest depiction of Texas, and this was 10 years ago. But everybody I've ever met from Texas, every fighter that boxers from Texas, food from Texas, I'm a fan, dude. I'm a fan. I always talk about him. I'm a fan, 100%. Even though I'm a diehard Buckeye fan, so I'm able to compartmentalize. The rivalry in sport. DJ, Baltimore. I know they're not the same, but don't they call it don't they categorize Baltimore and DC as the I'm going to sound really dumb here. The DM. What do they call it? They do categorize the region. DJ, I know I'm not missing out on that. The DC and Baltimore region is officially designated as the CSA, a large statistical area. I thought I wasn't wrong with that. They categorize DMV. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Okay, I knew I wasn't out of crazy. DJ, you got me feeling crazy. Either way, mate, I'm not trying to offend anybody here. I swear that at least down here in Australia and in Ohio where I grew up, we always called fighters from DC and Baltimore the DMV. And Virginia, right? Baltimore, Maryland, DC, it's its own thing. You got Virginia right there. Yeah, it's a whole region. Holler, Austin, Texas, holla. DMV, nah, bro, DMV, you right. Okay, a little bit of a back and forth. Yeah, but look at Valenzuela. Baltimore isn't DMV. It's just Maryland. Andy Cruz going in that fight. B. Moore, The Wire. B. Moore. Andy Cruz going to that fight was a slide. Has the Hollywood card started? DMV is DC, Peake County. Okay, so DJ's out here teaching. Preach. Baltimore, Maryland, the M, crazy. I used to, so DJ, I used to work for a place in South Carolina called Phillips Seafood, and I would go to Baltimore, the Harbor place. They had a place. It was crab cakes. Phillips Seafood. I wonder if that dude. This is crazy. I was 20 years old. I was playing baseball in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. I told you guys this story, this era of my life, and I played down there for 2 summers when I was going to University of Pittsburgh, and I would go down from Memorial Day to Labor Day to play baseball in Myrtle Beach, and at night I would bartend at a place called Phillips Seafood, and they had and they were based out of Baltimore, and they had blue. I think it was blue crab, the best. I think about these crab cakes every second day. Every second day in my life for the last 25 years, I think about the crab cakes from Baltimore, from specifically Phillips Seafood. You guys ever hear of Phillips Seafood? Are they still open? Who else is from the DMV? DJ Green, if you go to Baltimore, don't say, yeah, we need more in Houston. Yeah, I don't. That's my. I only spent a weekend in Baltimore in 2004. I was in the Harbor place. Rio clearly won. Fresh BX talking to Eister. Rio clearly won, but because they didn't give Cruz a decision, he clearly lost. Means they wouldn't do it for a different fight. DJ Green, you from the DMV. Kyle Hayden Phillips is still around in the Maryland. Yo, have you guys? I tell you what I would get. I would get the broiled. They would do Bryce and Shirley crab cakes, the broiled crab cakes and the crab imperial, mate. The way they would do this crab imperial, they would take a big ass oyster shell, and they would take the jumbo lump crab meat and put it on this oyster shell, and then they would do some sort of like cheese butter sauce and bake it, and they would serve it. The bowl itself was an oyster shell, and you would eat the jumbo lump crab meat off of the oyster shell. Boy, whoo, I'm hungry. If you guys are on the East Coast, trust me, if you like seafood, go to Phillips Seafood. Now, granted, I'm speaking on a 20-year-old story. I don't even know if it's good anymore. Interest is from the Chi. What if somebody from the Chi to Wazil got a deal on the hottest rap label around? When I went to Washington, everything was literally 30 minutes from each other. I thought Valenzuela beat Cruz. Largo in the house. Hey, Johnny, I finally hopped in the Discord. Hope to chat with you in there soon. Yeah, Largo, I'm popping in. Largo in the house. I'll be in the Discord today. Largo, go to if you're new to the Discord, start seeing the different channels, because I put my 2 bet slips up in there. So you have your boxing channel, your MMA channel, your American football, your soccer, and then Johnny's picks. Last night I gave you my long parlay, and then I also gave you my prop of the week. But as soon as this live stream ends, I'm going to give you my UFC picks, and then I'm also going to give you a 2-leg method of victory prop that pays 6-1. So Largo, if you're unaware, because a lot of the boys who join the Discord, they're not aware of how to navigate it. So once you're in the Discord, you see these channels. Find Johnny's picks, and that's where you'll find my picks. And then just send me a message, mate. DJ Green, no, Johnny, you're right. Anywhere down here has the best seafood, the best. You got to go. Mateo, you got that Duarte Sims card. High interest. I'm talking to DJ. All respect. Preach. Julius, what region in America where is boxing most popular? I'd say LA and Philly. You'd say LA and Philly. I mean, probably not wrong. Probably not wrong. I just ain't got to. Probably not wrong. Boxing's popular. I come from Northeast Ohio, so it's popular where I come from. Youngstown, Cleveland, Akron, Canton, that whole area. Youngstown, Cleveland, Akron, Canton. It's weird that it's not more popular in Columbus. You know what I'm saying? But, Buster Douglas was from Columbus, so shout out to Buster Douglas. 40-1 dog. And then Cincinnati, Ohio, but where I come from in Northeast Ohio, we really don't consider Cincinnati, Ohio. We call Cincinnati, Cincinnati. No offense, Broner. No offense to Aaron Pryor, the Hawk. Aaron Pryor, one of my favorite boxers from Cincinnati, the Nasty Natty. Let's go. Lyrical, yeah, man, I'll get the channels all set up. Chilltown talk you up to me. Oh, yeah, Lyrical, man. Chilltown is my guy, man. So if you're friends with him, you're friends with me. He's a good dude, man. Send me a private message. Appreciate the support, too, Lyrical. DJ Green, high interest. I hear you, bro. Philly, great boxing. I mean, there's great boxing down south, right? Texas has good boxing. Nevada, people sleep on Las Vegas because, yeah, Vegas. Vegas has good. Vegas is just a good fight scene. They call it the fight capital of the world for a reason. You got a lot of good MMA gyms there. You got good boxing gyms there. But it could just be an outcome of what's the number one rule of real estate: location, location, location. But in terms of like the ethos, because I lived in Vegas for 2 years. Yeah, you could DM me, Lyrical. I lived in Vegas for 2 years, so I got to be honest with you. As a local in Las Vegas for 2 years, boxing really isn't in the ethos of the locals. So I think the question is, real boxing towns, it's in the ethos of the city. Like, I come from Youngstown, Ohio. Henry Arroyo, Ray Boom Boom Mancini, Ernie Shavers, Kelly Pavlik. So like, Youngstown, Ohio is what you would call it's in the ethos. People grow up boxing. I come from a town where like even the weakest link in the friend group, even the weakest link, you go to, back in the day in the 90s, we would kick it at the mall. You go to the mall to, look at chicks, just fucking gallivant. But even the weakest dude, if ever we had beef with any group of dudes, and this is my experience, I lived in, Pittsburgh, South Carolina, Long Beach, Las Vegas, and Sydney. Youngstown, Ohio, dude, is the only town I've been in where even the weakest ass dude will throw hands. Even if he knows he's gonna get beat up, he's still gonna fight. So I look, and I'm sure there's other towns in America that are like that. Even the weakest dude will still fight and take a beat down, because I think that, boxing, fighting, that's a fight town. You're in a fight town where like even the scrubs, the dudes who like, can't win fights, they're not afraid to throw hands. They're not, because it's normal. It's kind of normalized to just scrap. We were doing organized fights in second grade at St. Anthony's. I wrote a whole little short story about this 5 years ago. It's on my Facebook. In second grade, I was 7 years old, and it was my first organized fight in school. I fought a kid named Chris Williams in the bathroom, and he was new to school. He was new to our class. All the boys and I, we've been going to school together since kindergarten, and then it's second grade now. So kindergarten, first grade, second grade, with me, Kevin Poindexter, Christian Klinkscale, David Johns, Joe Lasivita, Eric Fetty, Nick Bellino, Chris Costas, Jamal Harris, and then the new kid was Chris Williams. And he was trying to punk everybody and bully everybody, and I was real tiny. And he was bullying me, like trying to pick on me, and I wasn't that dude. I'd already been boxing for like 6 months as a 7-year-old. And so we go to the bathroom. Kevin Poindexter was a ringleader. He ended up playing college ball at Bowling Green State University. Kevin had a rule. We go into the bathroom. He was like, there's one rule. If anybody tells on anybody, we're beating you up after. And so it was a one-on-one fight. He was bigger than me. Threw a right hand. He backs up against a urinal, and I start throwing his head into the urinal. And then it happened so quick. I was 7. So that's just a quick little story of like, when I think fight towns, you got to think of like it's in the ethos of the culture. Gladiator games in elementary school. Yo, man, I'll bring some of the boys on for receipts. St. Anthony's, STA, baby. It was a Catholic school, and I was one of 2 white boys. Check out, Google Briar Hill, Youngstown, Ohio. See what comes up. So Youngstown, Ohio, but then Google Briar Hill. That's the neighborhood. David Eister says, Tua versus Ika Beabuchi. Love that fight. I always talk about David Tua might be on a short list of one of the greatest boxers to never be a world champion. I mean, in my opinion, you got from the olden days. I always talk about him from Philly. He fought Mundine. He fought Carlos Monzon. It's gonna burn me. I hate using the internet because my memory isn't as good as it used to be. But other than not Ezra Charles, he was a world champion. Napoli's, god damn it, Benny Briscoe, huge puncher, dude, big puncher. Benny Briscoe, and then David Tua. Short list of the greatest fighters ever to never become a world champion. And that's why I kind of get sort of romantic about the sport when we cover fighters and they start getting old. why we saw Jazza Dickens go to Turkey and become a world champion at 35, beating Albert Badagaziev. We were like, holy shit, dude, this dude became a world champion, Jazza Dickens. Or why, Jack Catterall, great skill set, not a world champion, great skilled fighter. It'd be a shame if Jack Catterall retires never being a full world champion. So Catterall going to Philly to train with Bozy, I think it's a good move. I mean, there's a short list. So you bring up Tua versus Ika Beabuchi, and David Tua, man, great fighter, great guy, still trains. I follow him, lives in New Zealand. He's a fun Instagram follow, still putting in the work. He's like 57 probably, still doing it. Got to respect the old heads like myself, still training. Muscle Brown checking in. What's up, player? I try to tell people we practice not. Yes, Fresh. You couldn't snitch in kindergarten, and you had to learn that from your boys. And this is also going to sound a little bit controversial, but I think bullying at a young age is important. I think not snitching is definitely important because it's important for problem solving, especially as young boys. Not just as a young boy, it's important to navigate problems on your own as a young kid. So when you become an adult or a younger teen, or you kind of have the skill set or the mechanisms and the wiring to figure your things out without always having to either like go to an adult. That's the way I looked at it. And like, I got bullied a lot for a couple years, and then bullies always stop bullying when you throw hands. The best way to deter a bully is stand up for yourself. And I think a lot of it comes down to discipline, and you kind of have to not worry about taking an ass beating too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to keep that chin down and just get beat up every now and then when you're like 7 and 8 years old. I talk like this in front of my girlfriend, and she has like a 9-year-old nephew named Christian. Shout out to Christian. And he tells on everybody. Christian's 9 years old, tells on everybody. And I always look at Chris. I'm like, when I was 7, I was playing 2 combat sports. I was like, this fool's 9 years old, narking on everybody. I was like, if I was his age, I'd have packed him up, boy. I'd have packed Christian all the way up. And she's like, you're so mean. Things are different. I was like, when I was 10, I was selling beepers and pagers. I was like, this dude's 9 years old, just corny, just crying all the time, telling on people. I was like, he needs to get packed up. I was like, take this dude to a boxing gym. So yeah. I'm kind of half kidding, but it comes from a good place. I love little Christian, but it comes from a good place. You know what I mean? I'd have packed him up though, for sure. You sound like Soulja Boy explaining. Thank high interest, man. I'm gonna take that as a compliment. If you don't know what high interest is talking about, you guys probably do. The chat's super educated. That Soulja Boy, when I was fighting everybody. I was knocking everybody out. And Floyd's sitting there like, it's a hilarious video. Who won Echo? Great question. GMS put on the elect. We got Echo Usman versus Catterall. That's a good fight, guys. It's a good fight. Echo impressed me against Josh Carbontree. What was up with that minus 550 Argentine girl that lost to that Irish girl on short notice by hugging? Why is that? What fight? Also, all he did was dive and hug her. What fight, Carbontree? An Argentine girl lost to that Irish girl? I don't know what fight he's talking about. Why are you so confident about Nathaniel? FX, I'm not. Okay, FX. FX says, why am I so confident about Nathaniel winning by stoppage? He only has 8 knockouts, and his opponent is undefeated. When I say I'm confident, I didn't say I'm confident in Nathaniel winning by stoppage. I'm saying that I'm probably going to play Nathaniel to stop Lorente. That doesn't mean I'm confident. Now, I'm playing that by trends. I like the odds you're giving me. I like Nathaniel Collins' timing. I like his counterboxing, and I like where he's trending. I like what he looked like against Lee McGregor. I love that the fight's in Scotland. I don't like Lorente's jab. I don't like Lorente not punching with his opponent. Lorente throws his jab a little bit, lazy. He doesn't, I want to see Lorente jab, lead hook. Doesn't throw his lead hook enough. His backhand's all right. He's going to be taller. He has a longer reach. Hopefully I answered your question. You give me Nathaniel Collins at 365 to stop a guy in Lorente. Yeah, he's 20-0. 2 draws though. Did you watch the fight, the split draw? There's not a lot that There's not a lot that jumps off the paper for me for Lorente. So am I confident Collins stops him? No, I'm not confident. Am I going to play that bet? Yeah, I'm going to play that bet. There's kind of a difference. Guys, when you're betting and we're breaking down fights, confidence probably isn't an adjective I would use in blood sport. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you got to see what you see and then go from there. Mateo, that's hilarious. Selling beepers and pagers. Yeah, and they were deactivated too, Fresh. The beepers and pagers were deactivated, and we would wear them as accessories. $50. I remember my mom found, I remember I was 12 now. My mom, who was like, we're on welfare at this time because my dad wasn't working. My parents had 4 kids. My mom was in college. So she had gone back to college. So we're on like welfare. She's going through my room like a scandalous ass investigator searching my stuff. Boy, I was a little nightmare. You go through my stuff and find something that I did, you sneak through my shit, boy, I used to see that I'd have a meltdown. She found like $200 and $20 bills one time, and she she acted like I stole a car. John, where'd you get this from? I was like, bitch, what are you talking about? Give me my shit back. And it was my money. It was because I'm frugal. You know, it was my selling pager money, my beeper money. They don't know about that. I wish one of my boys from Catholic school was on this chat. They would back all these stories up. I'll bring one of them on one day. Naomi Valle, Carbon-Tree. That fight was awful. It was she was Mexican. It wasn't Valle versus the girl from Italy. Terrible fight. I had Valle winning like 5 of the 8 rounds. They gave the fight to the Italian girl. Yeah, it was a horrible, the headbutter. Muscle Brown, Jay, what's your thoughts on Aston Brown, Paul Keane? So Muscles, I'm not taking action on Keane versus Brown, but Hutchinson versus Jeffers. I got Willie Hutchinson. I like him at a plus 135 on the money line. He's the bigger fighter, at least his career-wise. Jeffers is coming up we just saw Mark Jeffers, guys. We just saw him as a 3-1 favorite against the kid from New Orleans, Louisiana, and he got beat. There's not a lot of doing the tape. I mean, neither guy is going to be. I don't think neither guy's on their way to become a Hall of Famer. I just like Hutchinson. I like his energy. I like his power. I like the volume. I like the pace. Jeffers sometimes waits around a little bit too much. I think sometimes Jeffers fights in a way that he thinks he's somebody else as well. Yeah, that's where my money's at. It's hard for me to put money on Jeffers after watching him in his last fight. 9-year-old is need to get packed up. It's a more psychological thing, high interest. It was more psychological. I used to hate when my mom went, yeah, man. Muscles, were you live on any channels this week? Muscles just did a live with old mate, with Gary. Your long parlay was too good, bro. They had a Carbon-Tree, man. Oh, that's why you got Carbon. You bring up old skeletons, man. I'm still salty about that Valle fight, man. Dude, I had her winning 5 out of 8 rounds. They gave it to the Italian girl for headbutting. It was insane. Hutch is the favorite. Jeffers, yeah. I have Hutch. I'm talking about in the fight before, Jeffers was the favorite against like 5 months ago. We covered Mark Jeffers. He was fighting a guy who was from America and he lost. He looked terrible. Guys, I got to wrap it up. I'm going to the horse races. So, boys, if Leargall's still on this live stream, if you boys are in the Discord, I'm going to post my 2-leg method of victory in my Johnny's picks. I already put the long parlay. I also gave you my prop of the week. The prop of the week's a plus 345. You got to join the Discord to get in there. The link is pinned here in the comment section below. We got a lot of action moving forward as well. And we're going to... I meant $1.30. I meant $1.30, Muscles, not plus 130, $1.30. And stay tuned. All right, boys, I'll see you soon. Send me a message on Discord, Leargall. I'm going to put my horse racing tip in there, too, because I'm going to the horse race.